What's up, spectators? Welcome back to an episode of Ace Attorney 6. We are questioning Mr. Anonymous TD TBD, and we are proving him wrong time and time again that he did not witness the murder that Maya did not commit. That Maya committed allegedly. The brand new fact that comes to light if Mr. Emis really did see those shadows is, he was somewhere else. He wasn't where he claimed to be at the time of the murder. Doot doot doot! Then where do you propose the witness was? Some place where he could have seen the shadow figures. You mean? None of the mountains east of the inner sanctum are close enough for a good view. That leaves only one place he could have clearly seen the shadows from. And where might that be? This is where Mr. Emis was at the time of the murder. Mr. Emis was at the inner sanctum, just outside the curtain on the east side. That's the only place from which he could have seen the shadowy figures. Really? I didn't even think of that. Interesting, so he isn't the murderer. He just landed there. But wasn't the inner sanctum off limits to all but the victim and the accused? And the third party who was there, you mean? I get the feeling that's a subject Prosecutor Sadmani would rather not touch right now. You mean? That's right. This witness was at the scene of the crime. Which means he is the mysterious third party we saw during the divination seance. He could be the one who dressed as Lady Kira and killed the High Priest. What?
Objection.
No one but the two participants were allowed anywhere near the inner sanctum. And the only way up there are the stairs that start down at the Plaza of Devotion. So tell me, how do you propose the witness entered that sacred space? I haven't thought that far ahead. The sanctum has sheer cliffs on three sides and a steep, towering rock face on the other. No one could have made it there by climbing the faces of those cliffs. His Majesty speaks true. To say Mr. Emis was at such an inaccessible location is but a bit to tarnish his credibility. Is that not right? Right! I wasn't at the inner sanctum, no sir, no how. At least I'm pretty sure I wasn't.
Hold it!
Then what about those silhouettes you claim to have seen? I'm starting to think I've been imagining things. This is insane! Alright, calm down, Phoenix. Peace, I say! This is impossible. Unless I can show how he got to the inner sanctum. It just looks like I'm trying to slander Mr. Emis. I believe in you, Nick. Rah rah, sis boom bah, fight fight Phoenix Wright. Just look at the accused. Has she no shame? What's your problem, lady? Phoenix Wright is very trustworthy, I'll have you know. She's got some nerve for a criminal. I bet that lawyer posts the boy. Please, Maya, you're only making it worse. I appreciate the vote of confidence, but it's probably best to keep it to yourself for now. I would advise the defense to think carefully before making any more sudden outbursts. Yes, Your Majesty. If I wasn't the bad guy before, I definitely am now. Now, Mr. Emis, I'd like you to think back carefully before you testify next about where you were that night. I was never at the inner sanctum, I tell ya. That much I'm sure of, even with the fuzzy memory. Besides, it would have been impossible to get there in the first place. Boy, you lawyers sure are scary. I guess it might have been impossible for him to get to the inner sanctum like he claims, but... Now will you desist in trying to frame this innocent witness? Yeah! I like to see what's better there! Mr. Wright, is it not time to end these cross-examinations? You shut your goddamn mouth. A moment of desperation leads to 100 million years of torment. It means that for each moment a sinner spends struggling to deny their sins, 100 million years of torment are added to their time in hell. Karateism is the strictest religion ever. And just so you know, you've already accrued 200 million extra years. Plus the 500 million years they started with, that's 700 million! Sure, what's another 200 million, give or take? Well, it's a big deal to me. How about we make it an even billion? How about 10 billion? How about infinity? You stupid assholes. I can't keep saying that the witness was there at the inner sanctum if I can't prove it. The problem is, how am I going to do that? Ba. Yes, yes. Ba beep, ba boop, boop, ba boop, beep beep, ba boop, boop. Would have been impossible to get there in the first place. I'm sorry, I know I don't normally skip pressing statements, but when it's that obvious, it's like, ugh. I wonder if it really was impossible for you to get to the inner sanctum. If you have something to say, just say it. Couldn't there have been another way to get there? A way that wouldn't attract attention? No, there isn't! Which means there is. Perhaps the defense would share its theory with us. I don't even have a wild guess, let alone a theory, though. Time to reach to my bag of bluffs. To reach the inner sanctum without attracting any attention. He fell from the sky! Maybe you fell from the sky. The lawyer thinks he's a comedian now! I was wondering what crazy theory you would propose next. Well, defense, let's hear it. Mr. Emis could have parachuted down. We already know the weather was clear and there was no wind to speak of. Perfect weather for skydiving, I'd say. Now that you've been backed into a corner, your delusions grow ever more delusional. The inner sanctum is on a tiny ledge upon a sheer cliff over 2,000 meters tall. One misstep and a skydiver would soon find themselves in the Twilight Realm. Yeah, I don't care how still the wind was, even I couldn't have made that jump. What's this building on top of the sacred mountain? That is Royal Penitentiary number 4. Princess Rafa mentioned there was a prison up there. How do you get your prisoners up there anyway? By helicopter, but only with authorization from the Minister of Justice. He is the only one who can approve flights that pass over the inner sanctum. Might I also add, defense, that no parachute or any other equipment necessary for skydiving have been found. Are you saying I flew down there by flapping my arms? I may be an incredible dude, but even I'm not capable of that. Well, please add that statement to your testimony, Mr. Emis. It's not like I can fly through the air either. Is that what he added? Bum 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 bum. Mr. Emis is right. He couldn't have skydived down there without any gear. Well, now, finally come around, have you? Now you see that I couldn't have possibly been there at the inner sanctum. Right. If you didn't have any gear, that is. What on earth are you talking about? That overreaction is a dead giveaway that I'm on the right track. Take a look at this piece of evidence. Those are prayer flags, are they not? Yes, but they've been sewn together to create one big banner. A banner that could also function like a parachute. Porkunka! The people of Kurain are so used to seeing prayer flags that the police didn't even think twice about these flags during their investigation. This cannot be. The witness landed at the inner sanctum by using these prayer flags as a parachute. Is that not right, Mr. Emis? There's no way out. I'm surrounded. Mr. Emis? All this talk's jogged my memory. I guess I was there at the inner sanctum after all. As I suspected, there were 3 people there that night. You did it, Nick. You weren't wrong after all. Thanks? Mr. Emis, you were the one disguised as Lady Kira that night, weren't you? No way, no how. It's like this. Oh yeah, I was only there at the inner sanctum by accident. Exactly. And that thing's not a parachute. It's a homemade paraglider. Are you telling me you can fly using that patchwork mess of material? It may not look like much, but it's as sturdy as can be. I rode the wind like an eagle, going higher and higher from my earthly launching point. But then something happened that forced me to land at the inner sanctum. So you just happened to land there. You expect me to believe that? Now, please calm yourself, Mr. Wright. The fact that the witness was at the inner sanctum is crucial testimony indeed, and it certainly warrants further explication. Therefore, let's continue with more testimony. That evening, I was enjoying a trek through the night sky with my homemade paraglider. But just as Mount Pony Pony was drawing near, something terrible happened. An accident forced me to make an emergency landing at the inner sanctum. As I landed, I banged my head, causing me to lose my memory. So you see, I ended up at the inner sanctum purely by accident. Mr. Emis, you failed to mention any of this during your pre-trial questioning. Can't be helped, I mean, I'm just remembering it now. Continue such slipshod testimony and you'll be cast into the hell of hangnails, where you shall have hangnails grown and ripped out for 800 million years. I think I'll pass on that. Looks like that caught Prosecutor Sadmati off guard. This is my chance to rip his case to shreds. That evening, I was enjoying a trek through the night sky with my homemade paraglider.
Hold it!
You didn't go to pray? A devout Kurainist like me can pray anywhere, even while flying through the sky. But I wouldn't recommend you try it. You're bound to end up dead. A paraglider? I didn't see anything like that. That's 'cause of the ritual curtain. It blocked your view. You should have seen me majestically soaring between the mountains. What do you think, Nick? Don't ask me. I was really enjoying that flight. At first, anyway. But just as Mount Pony Pony was drawing near, something terrible happened. Hold on a second, what was this one? Alright.
Hold it!
Something terrible happened. And when I say terrible, I mean terrible. What, was there something unexpected near Mount Pony Pony? What was it again? You don't remember. Let's just say it was terrible. An accident forced me to make an emergency landing at the inner sanctum.
Hold it!
What exactly was this accident you had? Good question. Now, what was it again? Wind? Oh yeah, it was the wind. And not just any wind, but a sudden gale force wind. Made me lose control. The wind was strong enough to make you lose control. You got that right. Okay then, please add that to your testimony. Gale force winds came out of nowhere! Oh gee, I wish I could believe that, mister.
Objection!
We have a saying in my country, Mr. Emus. One lie begets another. What's that supposed to mean? It means someone caught lying will lie again in an attempt to conceal their first lie. In other words, this current testimony is just a blatant lie you're telling to cover your tracks. What did you just say? You claimed gale force winds caused you to lose control. But this newspaper has the weather report for the day of the murder. It says, the area around the inner sanctum will enjoy calm, clear skies today. Why, I do believe it does say that. One lie begets another. That makes sense, but is it really a saying back home? I've never heard it. I kinda made that one up. For real? Your Magistrate, the witness's testimony contains another flaw, one that's even more fatal to his cause. More fatal, you say? The defense will explain himself at once. Mr. Emus claims he was flying up around the inner sanctum with his paraglider, but it would have been impossible to get all the way up there without any wind. Why, yes, I believe you're right. But we know the witness was at the inner sanctum, so... how did you get there? And from where? Without any wind, he couldn't have flown up there from the bottom of the mountain. By process of elimination, the only starting point that makes any sense is... Your Majesty, I believe I have the answer to your question. To reach the inner sanctum, Mr. Emus must have launched himself from here. Boo-boo, boo-boo,
Take that!
Are you insane? That's where he came from? If he couldn't have come from below, the only other option is from above. So you see, Anonymous came down from Royal Penitentiary number 4. From there, he could have easily reached the inner sanctum by parachute. And that means he might have also killed the High Priest. Mr. Emus, were you the third party at the inner sanctum? And the one behind the warning to halt the right that the victim received? Was it you we saw in his final memory? Are you the rebel hunter, Lady Kira? I think it was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh, I'm losing my voice. Help me out here. You did it! You finally left him speechless. Come on, Mr. Prosecutor Man. Quiet, you fool. You should use this time to prepare yourself for what is to come. For a fate far worse than hangnail hell awaits you now. Well done, defense. I must concede this point to you. Goddamn right. The witness did in fact descend to the inner sanctum from Royal Penitentiary number 4. Didn't even put up a fight this time. That's awfully generous of him. But if you're as perceptive as you seem, then surely you've already figured out the riddle. The riddle of Anonymous' true identity. His true identity. Yes, I just said that. Not sure I know quite yet, but I guess I'll have to answer with something. It would seem I'm the only one still in the dark here. Would the defense care to enlighten me? Who is this man we've been calling Anonymous? The witness's true identity is... Where's that poster? Bam! Only now do you realize the truth. Please do share with us your belated insight. What's wrong, Nick? Just say it. Because this isn't going to be very helpful to our case. Are you sure? Unfortunately, I got no other choice. That scruffy beard and shaggy mane completely threw me off. But it's all becoming clear now. The nighttime base jump from the mountaintop prison. The precision landing at the inner sanctum using only a homemade parachute. Only a paratrooper, or more precisely, a former paratrooper could have pulled that off. This witness is That's Horrible. That's horrible? Okay. That's Horrible, prison escapee and key member of Dirk's rebel group. The witness is an escaped prisoner. Precisely. The police have been scouring every corner of the city to no avail. Meanwhile, here he was under our noses the entire time. Didn't think anyone would see through my clever disguise. But the witness's charade is not all that's been shattered. Is it, defense? Boy, do I hate this guy. Please recall the defense's own words. Whoever sent it clearly meant to threaten the high priest. The letter said, do not perform the rite. But the rite went on as scheduled. I believe that's why the high priest was murdered. Who do you suppose sent that letter? A person with something to hide. The rebel hunter disguised as Lady Kira herself. He claimed that the real killer was the rebel hunter disguised as Lady Kira. And what's your point? What of the witness's true identity? Only a paratrooper, or more precisely a former paratrooper, could have pulled that off. This witness is That's Horrible, prison escapee and key member of Dirk's rebel group. He is a rebel and an escaped prisoner. He could not possibly have been Lady Kira, mortal enemy of the rebels. Now perhaps the witness will enlighten us to the truth. After all, he is yet to refute any of this. Hoo-ha! You got me! I'm the razor-sharp fangs of the Defiant Dragons. That's horrible. When did you get your memory back? Around the time you guys were talking about there being no wind. But you gotta give me credit for making up all that testimony off the top of my head. Are you prepared to tell us the truth now? Well, it's true I parachuted down to the inner sanctum. But I banged my head on impact and ended up unconscious outside the ritual curtain. In short, all my eyewitness testimony was a big fat lie. Oh, and by the way, long time no see, Yudi. They know each other. Your Majesty. Boy, you ought to be one big idiot to question a witness all day and it's actually someone you knew the whole time. This filthy rebel belongs in a jail cell. Oh yes, of course. Bailiff, seize him at once. Seems you really have forgotten the will of the dragon, huh, Yudi? But I haven't, and no dogs of the Garan regime are gonna lay a finger on me. Alley-oop! Deploy all available resources. I want all units placed on high alert. The escaped prisoner escaped again! The police force has been placed on high alert. He will be caught before long. An escaped prisoner who's escaped the law again after giving a ton of false testimony. Talk about a troublemaker. He really pulled a number on all of us. What was the point of all that anyway? Well, I can't help but feel that entire episode was an enormous waste of time. Your Majesty. Perhaps it was not as great of a waste as you might believe. What makes you say that, Prosecutor Sadmati? That's Arbel dropped something as he made his escape from these halls. That scriber paper looks awfully familiar. These appear to be direct orders from Dirk. These appear to be direct orders from Dirk. From Dirk, the rebel leader? But we only have a small corner of it. I remember now. Your Majesty, I've seen that scrap of paper before. You have? The scrap of paper that's Arbel dropped is part of this.
Take that!
And this is... I found it at the scene of the crime. It appears to be a copy of the order that Mr. Arbel dropped. If we put the two together, we should be able to read what the order says. And just what does it say, Mr. Wright? I can't read Koreanese. Sadmati, if you please. The ignorant lawyer is not bothered to learn our language? Very well, then. What does that paper have to do with the one you're supposed to read? I do not understand. What does it say? Using the lamplight as a landmark, he was to parachute down to the inner sanctum. Upon the rite's completion, he was to don Lady Kira's robes and make his escape. That is how he was to escape from prison. So if I were to assume that Mr. Arbel was the one who killed the High Priest, then maybe it was because Abbot Inmi tried to thwart his escape plan. Oh, foul lawyer, I'm afraid that is simply ludicrous. But I didn't say anything. Did he just read my mind? I know how your putrid mind works. Unfortunately for you, however, now that the rebels' escape plan has been revealed, it is clear that Dots Arbel is not the High Priest's killer. How can you be so sure? If only you would use that putrid brain of yours every once in a while. Dots Arbel's plan could not have worked without the help of a certain individual. What do you mean? I'm speaking of Abbot Inmi, of course. Had Dots Arbel simply donned Lady Kira's robes and made his escape alone, he would have been far too conspicuous. But were the High Priest, he be by the High Priest's side. The faithful citizens praying in the plaza would have had no cause to suspect anything. It is therefore unthinkable that Dots Arbel was the High Priest's killer. So then you're saying the High Priest was a... Oh, I can't bear to say it. I'm afraid it is so. He numbered among the rebels who threatened our kingdom. How could this be? Let it go and move on. Accept the truth. It is the only way. And that goes double for you, Defense. Cease your futile battle now. And why should I? Because I'll now put the final nail in the coffin of the accused. Now that we have eliminated Dots Arbel from our list of suspects, there's only one person that still remains. The accused, Maya Fey.
Hold it!
Hold it right there. Aren't you forgetting something important? Please do explain, Defense. We can't end this trial without looking into Wrong. Oh dear. What does it matter if it has been found or not? The fact remains that the victim was killed with it by accused. The accused. Okay. Alright, hold on. With this one life I have, I'm gonna save the arrow, but I'm gonna save that for next time. So stay tuned for the next episode, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.